Hi everybody. Obviously I am not there today, so rather than have us just do busy work, I've got a process that I want you to go through. It's something I would teach anyway. I know you guys are solid enough to get this without any problems, so we're going to learn how to calculate molecular mass for substances. Quickly, we will review what we talked about earlier last week. What is a mole? A mole is 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd somethings. That could be 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd atoms of an element, or molecules of a compound, or formula units in an ionic compound. It could even be 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd puppies if you wanted a mole of puppies, although I don't think that's really a good idea. We also figured out that if you gathered a mole of sodium atoms together, for instance, if you grabbed 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd sodium atoms and got them all together, the mass would be 22.99 grams. And we know that by looking at the atomic mass on the periodic table. So if you pull up a periodic table and look at sodium, you'll see that its atomic mass, which is down here at the bottom on this picture, is 22.99 grams in 1 mole. A mole of silicon would have a mass of 2809. Again, if we look at a periodic table, 28.0855 rounds 2809. And a mole of copper, of course, would be 6355. So a mole of any particular element can be determined by simply looking at the atomic mass for that particular guy. If you're looking at the atomic mass, you're finding out how many grams you would have if you had 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd of those things together. We also showed that if you didn't have an entire mole, it was a matter of a simple conversion. We did this when we did centimeters to inches, except in this case we're using the conversion factor of grams per mole. So if we had only 0.175 moles of aluminum, then we could multiply by this factor, 26.98 grams of aluminum, which is from the periodic table, in 1 mole. Multiply this by this, divide by 1, and you would get 4.72 grams of aluminum. So we don't even, if we need a partial amount of a mole, we would do this simple conversion. If we need an entire mole, we go right to the periodic table and just take this mass that's given on the periodic table. Our new thing then is, what if instead of a mole of an element, we had a mole of a compound? So I have a mole of water. What mass would that have? Well, water molecules, H2O, are made up of 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. And so if I had a mole of water molecules, I would have 2 moles of hydrogen atoms and 1 mole of oxygen. So to find the mass of a mole of water, all I would have to do is add up all the parts that make it up. So 2 hydrogens, I would multiply 2 by 1.01. This is from the periodic table. I would take 1 times 16.00, and then I would simply add those things together and get a total mass of 1802 grams in a mole of water. If I had 6.02 times 10 to the 23rd molecules of water together, then it would have a mass of 18.02 grams. Just as easy as that. Go to the periodic table, look up the mass of the individual pieces, multiply however many of those pieces you have, and then add everything up. Here's another example. If I had a mole of copper 2 hydroxide, a mole of copper 2 hydroxide. Copper 2 hydroxide is CuOH2. This parenthesis means this 2 is applied to both oxygen and hydrogen there. So I would look up 1 copper, multiply 1 times 6355. I would multiply 2 oxygens, so that's 2 times 16. 2 hydrogens, 2 times 1.01. I would add those all up, and I would see here 9757 grams if I had an entire mole of copper 2 hydroxide. I told you guys would be able to do this. What if we only had a partial amount of a mole? Well, here's 0.35 moles of silver nitrate. What would its mass be? Again, we start by figuring out the mass of the entire thing. So I'd make 1 times 10787, that's the mass of silver. 1 times 1401, and 3 times 16. Add those all together, and I would have 169.88 grams per mole. Then I would use my conversion of 0.35 moles of silver nitrate multiplied by the conversion factor 16988 over 1. And that would give me 59 grams of silver nitrate. Notice that in all my examples, I was paying attention to my sig figs and making sure I didn't put too many sig figs into my answer. All right, so that's all there is to doing this. I know you guys are capable of it. You can watch this video as many times as you need to. And then when you're ready, you're going to click on the link below the video link on Canvas. And there's a worksheet for you there to work on. Go through all of those. Work together if you want, help each other out, and then you can, like I said, watch this video again if you need to, and then have those all done for me tomorrow, and we will check them when I get there, and we'll see where we need to go from there. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.